Smoke rolls low over the water, thick and oily, clinging to the last light of day. British artillery guns, once symbols of imperial certainty, sit silent along the coast. A white flag flutters weakly above Fort Canning. Inside the command bunker, Lieutenant General Arthur Percival adjusts his cap with trembling fingers. Sweat beads under the collar of his khaki tunic despite the tropical rain that drums overhead. Across the table stands General Tomoyuki Yamashita of the Imperial Japanese Army, calm, composed, victorious. 80,000 British and Commonwealth troops are about to surrender. It is the largest capitulation in British military history. And thousands of miles away, in Delhi, the earth begins to shift beneath the British Empire. In the Viceroy's house, an architectural monument to permanence, Lord Linlithgow receives the telegram. The Empire's impregnable fortress in the east has fallen in just 70 days. Singapore, the jewel of imperial defense strategy, has collapsed like a house of cards. You can almost hear the echo of it across India. For nearly 2 centuries, British authority in India rested on a simple myth: invincibility. The red-coated regiments, the naval supremacy, the belief that Britannia ruled not just the waves, but destiny itself. Singapore just shattered that illusion. In Calcutta, in Bombay, in Lahore, Indian newspapers print the headline in bold black ink. Crowds gather around telegraph offices, shopkeepers whisper, students argue, soldiers stationed in barracks read between the lines. If the British can be defeated by Asians, what else is possible? But this tremor didn't begin in 1942. It began in 1939. September 3, 1939. London declares war on Germany. Within hours, without consulting a single elected Indian leader, Viceroy Linlithgow announces that India too is at war. Just like that. No vote, no debate, no consent. The Indian National Congress protests immediately. Jawaharlal Nehru fumes in private meetings. Mahatma Gandhi calls it a moral contradiction. How can Britain fight for freedom in Europe while denying it in India? Muhammad Ali Jinnah, leader of the Muslim League, watches carefully. He sees opportunity in chaos. Meanwhile, over 2 million Indian men will eventually don British uniforms: Sikh regiments, Gurkha battalions, Rajputana rifles. They will fight in North Africa, in Italy, in Burma. They will bleed for an empire that refuses to promise them independence. You can almost feel the tension tightening like a wire, because war has a way of accelerating history. By 1940, German bombs are falling on London, Britain stands alone in Europe, and suddenly India is no longer just a colony, it is a lifeline. Indian factories churn out uniforms, rifles, and ammunition. Indian farmers supply grain. Indian ports move men and materiel east and west. The empire's war machine depends on the subcontinent. But dependence changes relationships. It introduces leverage. In March 1942, as Japanese forces sweep through Malaya and Burma, the British government sends Sir Stafford Cripps to Delhi. His mission? Offer India a promise of dominion status after the war, in exchange for full cooperation now. The proposal is vague, delayed, conditional. Congress rejects it. Gandhi calls it a post-dated check on a crashing bank. Outside, Japanese aircraft bomb Rangoon. Refugees pour toward India's eastern frontier. The war is no longer distant, it is at the doorstep. And then comes the decision that will shake the empire to its core. August 8, 1942. Bombay, Gwalior Tank Maidan. The air is electric. Under a darkening sky, Gandhi steps forward before thousands of supporters. His voice is soft but unyielding. Here is a mantra, a short one: do or die. The Quit India movement begins that night. Within hours, British authorities arrest Gandhi, Nehru, Patel, almost the entire Congress leadership. Trains are sabotaged, telegraph lines cut, police stations burned, students flood the streets. The Raj responds with force, lathi charges, mass detentions, censorship. Over 100,000 Indians will be imprisoned, but something irreversible has happened. The loyalty that once seemed automatic is cracking. Even within the Indian Army, murmurs grow. Because at the same time British troops retreat from Burma, another Indian force begins to form, this one under a very different banner. Subhas Chandra Bose, charismatic, radical, uncompromising. He has escaped British house arrest, traveled through Afghanistan and Germany, and now arrives in Japanese-occupied Southeast Asia. His message is clear: give me blood and I will give you freedom. The Indian National Army, composed of Indian POWs captured by the Japanese, begins marching toward India's eastern frontier alongside imperial forces. For the first time in modern history, Indian soldiers are advancing with a foreign army to overthrow British rule. The symbolism alone is explosive. Imagine the psychological impact: Indians fighting Indians, loyalties split, the myth of unified imperial command dissolving under the jungle heat in Burma. And then, in 1943, another catastrophe strikes, not with bombs, but with hunger. The Bengal famine. Rice shortages, war requisitions, transport failures, policies driven by fear of Japanese invasion. By the end, 3 million people will be dead. Corpses lie by railway tracks in Calcutta. Mothers with hollow eyes beg in markets stripped bare. British wartime priorities, shipping grain to European theaters, fuel accusations of indifference, even cruelty. Winston Churchill, pressed for relief shipments, allegedly snaps, "If food is scarce, why hasn't Gandhi died yet?" Whether apocryphal or not, the damage is done. Faith in the empire erodes not just politically, but morally. The war that was meant to defend civilization is devouring India from within. And as Japanese troops push toward Imphal in 1944, as Allied forces struggle to hold the line in the jungles of Assam, one truth becomes unavoidable. The British Empire in India is fighting two wars at once, one against external enemies and one against time itself. Because when the guns finally fall silent in Europe and Asia, India will not be the same.